my updated thoughts on the 2017 iPad 1.5 months later. So back at the end of March, I went hands-on with the 2017 iPad and I came away fairly impressed. I was impressed by not only the price, but the amount of storage space and the speed of the device. But do those impressions hold up a month and a half later? Well, actually yes, for the most part at least. I'm still really impressed with that $329 base price, and that comes with 32 gigabytes of storage, which has proven to be great for casual usage. Now, many of the complaints that I voiced in the initial hands-on still hold true today. For example, the lack of a laminated display that still, even a month and a half later, sticks out like a sore thumb because I'm used to using an iPad Pro or using an iPad Air 2, but I stick by my previous opinion, and I think that if you're not coming from one of those recent devices like an iPad Air 2 or an iPad Pro, you're not going to really notice that much because older devices had that air gap as well. Now, another complaint is the thickness and the weight. That actually turned out to be even less of a problem than I imagined it would be during my initial hands-on. It's something that I just forgot about, something that I didn't even worry about after using this day in and day out. But funny enough, one of the things that I didn't harp on ended up being something that actually stood out like a sore thumb, and that is those speakers. They're terrible, and coming from an iPad Pro is just such a huge contrast between the sound quality. Even the iPhone 7, in my opinion, sounds better than the 2017 iPad. Now, one of the things that I think is totally worth upgrading for is Touch ID. If you're coming from an iPad 2 or an iPad 3 or an iPad 4 or an iPad Air even, Touch ID in and of itself is such a huge convenience that I would consider upgrading one of those devices. The camera configuration is the same thing that you'll find on the iPad Air 2. I can probably count on one hand how many times I've taken photos and videos with this device. Quality is okay, but definitely not great. But performance, yes, performance is really good. It shares the same system on the chip with the iPhone 6s, features 2 gigabytes of RAM, and I've just been really impressed with the overall performance of this device. Battery life is pretty good. I get about 9 hours on average, which is probably less than I initially expected. Part of that probably has to do with the fact that I had to crank up the brightness to combat the lack of an anti-reflective coating. That's something else I needed to mention. Lack of anti-reflective coating really hurts, and of course the lack of a fully laminated display hurts as well. But overall, I'm totally sold on this device. Highly recommend it if you're a new iPad user or you're upgrading from an older device. Do you agree? Sound off down below with your thoughts and opinions and leave me a thumbs up. This is Jeff with 9 to 5 Mac.